just either a slightly different from what they are, or we talk, we see things are not normal.
Welcome to Strange Familiars. If you've had an encounter that you'd like to share on the show, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, flannel man, bunny man, anything strange or paranormal, you can email us and let us know, strangefamiliarspodcast@gmail.com. We've got a great show tonight. Been really anxious to get to this one, but it's taken me a long time to sort through all of the on-site audio we had. Chad and I went and stayed at an abandoned ghost town in the Tuscarora State Forest called Pandemonium. He had me at the name. It was quite an interesting night. This is part 1 of our Pandemonium experience. It will be at least 2 parts. It might be 3. But before we get to Pandemonium, I want to mention that this weekend, September 21st and 22nd, 2019, I will be at the Harrisburg Comic and Pop Con. That's at the Harrisburg Mall, 3501 Paxton Street, Harrisburg. You can look up fourstatecon.com for more information. I'll have copies of my books, I'll have Strange Familiar stuff, I'll have art prints, my music and more. If I have time, I'll be doing some artwork commissions while I'm there. Stop by and see me at the Harrisburg Comic and Pop Con, September 21st and 22nd. I believe John will be with me on the 22nd as well, so you could be able to meet John on Sunday, but I will be there both days. Coming up after that, on October 12th, is Albatwitch Day in Columbia, Pennsylvania. Go to albatwitchday.com for more information on that. I will be there with my books and music and art as well. Jack Hubley will be there. If you're not familiar with him, he's a naturalist. He'll be talking about animals and so forth. There will be paranormal lectures. Rick Fisher's doing a lecture. John Sable's doing a lecture. I am also doing a lecture. Chad will be there doing woodcrafting demonstrations. There'll be trolley rides, bands, all kinds of stuff for kids to do. Albatwitch Day is always a fun day. It's October 12th this year. In the evening, after the rest of Albatwitch Day ends, we will be having ghost tours. I will be leading one of the ghost tours. If you want to go with me, book tickets for the 7 o'clock tour. I'm only doing one of the 3 tours. I'll be the 7 o'clock tour guide. I've never done a ghost tour before. Not sure if I'm any good at it, but if you want to go with me, 7 o'clock is the time to reserve. There's a limited number of tickets, so don't delay on that. Almost everything is free at Albatwitch Day except the trolley rides and the ghost tours are ticketed, I believe. I think Soraya told me he's coming down for Albatwitch Day, so you might be able to meet Soraya there as well. It should be a great day. That's October 12th, Albatwitch Day, Columbia, Pennsylvania. We've been getting a good many voicemails, great encounters. If you want to leave your encounter, if you have a short encounter and you want to leave a voicemail, 717-347-8554 is the number. You can leave a message. I'm not sure how long of a message you can leave. If you get cut off, you can always call back and leave the rest of your message. That is probably the quickest way to get us your encounter. You could also record an audio file on your recorder and just send us that as well. Again, our voicemail line is 717-347-8554. Before we get into Pandemonium, I do want to thank our patrons. Without our patrons, we could not make the content we make. We could not do Strange Familiars at all. So thank you, patrons. If you'd like to help us continue to make Strange Familiars and get extra content besides, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. That's patreon.com/strangefamiliars. For $3 a month, you can get extra shows. We do at least one full extra episode of Strange Familiars every month. Often we do more. There are other levels of support there as well. You can check them all out at Patreon. It's patreon.com/strangefamiliars. If you don't like the idea of a monthly subscription, there is a PayPal donation link at strangefamiliars.com in the show notes for every show. That, of course, helps a great deal as well. Another way to help is to like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever, and leave us those nice 5-star reviews. That really helps get the show in front of new listeners. So with all of that taken care of, let's move on to Pandemonium. Welcome to the studio, Chad. Your first time in studio with Strange Familiars.
Yes, this is. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thanks for being here.
This is awesome.
So we're talking Pandemonium.
Yes, Pandemonium.
Which was something.
Insane.
So Chad organized this trip. Where did you get this idea? Did you just see it somewhere?
I've always been one to check out forgotten places.
Mm-hmm.
And a good example is the one area that I like to go to above Fort Indian Town Gap, where there's probably 3 ghost towns. A place I visit all the time is actually off the Appalachian Trail called the General, which is literally a steam shovel in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I want to see that someday.
And I like to see historical places, and just doing research for different places to go to and to organize campouts for my group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Was Pandemonium, and I was like, oh, I really like to see that. And the name's unique.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had heard of it before. I came across it, but I didn't know anything about it. I knew nothing about it other than I came across the name one time, and I couldn't have told you where it was. I knew it was in Pennsylvania, but other than that, I didn't know anything about it. So Chad contacts me and basically says, "Look, we're going to camp at Pandemonium. This is what we're going to do." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Because that was basically I actually literally called the Park Service. They told me I told them what I wanted to do, and they gave me the site. I set up and I said, "Here it is. Let's go." I don't even think I even gave you a choice of matter, did I?
Well, I mean, I certainly...
You could have said no.
Yeah, certainly I could have said no, but no, it sounded like a cool thing, and
yeah.
I thought, well, let's do it. And then we did a little research online. We did, a little, found out a little bit about the place. And going into it, I thought, and I think you thought too, this is kind of going to be more one of the historical episodes.
Yes.
Let's go to a historic place with some neat history, maybe some cool stories that surround it. And maybe we'll get some ghost stuff, because there are a couple ghost stories.
Yeah, there is the abandoned cemetery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we got a lot more.
If you could call it that, was way more than what we anticipated.
It's more than we bargained for.
Yes.
For sure. So we got a bunch of on-site recordings. I always like to warn people, on-site recordings are notoriously inconsistent. They're up and down in volume. There's people are walking close to the mic, then they're far away from the mic. This can't be helped. So you've heard our on-site episodes before. There's absolutely nothing we can do about this. I've evened them out as best as we can, but by nature, these are going to have inconsistent audio. Please forgive us, but we will be popping in between the audio clips to discuss them and so forth. So if you miss anything, I think we should be able to cover everything between what we have from the on-site stuff.
Yes.
And then as we listen in studio here. We were joined in the first part of the day by our friend Mark. He only stayed for that day. He left before.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Yeah, he left before I guess right around nightfall. I guess he was leaving.
Yeah, it was. I think it was right before I got the fire started for dinner. This area is basically a narrow valley in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it was
6 miles. 6 miles in. The only access is one road, Cinder Forest Road. What's in the valley is the remains of the ghost town, the place where the people worked, and there was also a civilian conservation corps camp from the 1930s, which is right on the edge of the town.
Yeah. And you asked for the closest campsite that we could get,
which was literally in the town.
Yeah, we said this, and I don't know how many times we said it. I don't know if it's on the on-site recordings that you'll hear, but were the town still standing, we would have been considered within town limits, I think.
Absolutely.
It was that
absolutely
close, yeah.
Absolutely. And
we literally could throw a rock and hit
50 yards, if even that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 50 yards literally from the middle of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And where we stayed was in the remains of the Civilian Conservation Corps camp. And there were piles of foundations all around us.
Yeah, yeah.
There's really not much level ground. And just from some of the other hiking I've done up there, the last building really that was in use in Pandemonium, which was the schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It looked, when I finally found the foundation from the schoolhouse, what they literally would do is just take local stone and stack it in a level spot as close as a square that they could.
Right, and then build on top of that.
Mm-hmm. And when we say ghost town, most people conjure in mind, you think of the towns out west.
Right, the old rundown wooden...
Yeah, and that's not how it is here in the Northeast.
They don't last.
No, they rot, because it's so much more damp here, and stones shift over time.
Mm-hmm. So when we're going up there, I decided to bring some things that Tobe Johnson sent me. Now, this comes more into play later, but it's worth mentioning now.
Yes.
You might remember Tobe, if you're a listener, you might remember Tobe from the Strange Brow Paranormal Sasquatch episode. Tobe has been having an ongoing series of exchanges with something in the woods. Sasquatch, whatever it is. He's left items for something, they've been taken, they've been rearranged, and then he's been left items as well. And we were talking about that, and I was saying how similar things were happening with me in Hex Hollow and a couple other places. So we decided to trade. So I sent him some skulls that I found, because people have heard me discuss it probably. I keep finding skulls on various Bigfoot investigations. So I thought that would be neat. I'll send him a skull. I sent him a feather that I found in Hex Hollow, and I sent him some of the white quartz that I was stacking in Cairns in Hex Hollow. And I forget what else I sent him, but I sent him a collection of items, and he sent me a collection of items. He sent me a lot of things. And I did not tell Tobe I was going to take him up to Pandemonium. He sent them to me with the intention that I put him out in Hex Hollow. But I thought, we're going up there, let me take one of these things. I actually took two of the things he sent me.
Yeah, see what happens.
And just see what happens. And maybe we'll just bring him back with us or whatever. But I didn't tell him I was going to put him out up there. So I took the owl feather he sent, and he sent a cedar ball. And I took these two things. So we go there, we set up camp, we do all the normal stuff. And we decided, over the hill from our camp, we walked down there to see what was down there. And there's a swamp down there.
Yeah. We were positioned at the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
How it works is basically we were like still on part of the mountain, and it sloped down to where the creek ran.
Yeah, we were trying to find the creek behind us.
Yeah,
and then
it literally was a swamp.
Yeah, we weren't going to get to the creek that way. There was, however, one of the foundations and one of the buildings and some stones back there. So we thought, well, let's set up a little, offering area, for lack of a better word, whatever you want to call it. And I left the owl feather there, and you had brought some slag.
Slag from Cador's furnace. It was a small piece of black slag from Cador's furnace that I'd had.
And Mark placed a apple there.
And some cinnamon. And I think some fennel.
Yeah, some fennel as well. Fennel. And we just thought, well, let's just leave that there, and then we go on up. We weren't looking to create a reaction necessarily. We just thought, let's experiment, let's play with this.
We had also, I think, stacked a cairn coming from the road. Where we parked was a gravel road, and it was about 60 yards, you think, to the campsite?
Yeah, something like that.
And we could see the truck. We were in the woods, and then there was a tree that had been cut down, leveled off. I think we stacked a cairn right there, too.
There was a cairn there when we got there.
Okay.
We
added to it.
Yes. I noticed when we walked into camp, because I went, oh, look, on that stump, there's a cairn. And I made note of it. So, yeah, we added to it and maybe rearranged it or something. Yeah. But it might have been pushed over, but there were definitely, say, rocks. And it looks like there had been a cairn there when we got there. But again, we weren't doing this to elicit any kind of response. We were doing it just to, let's just see what happens, I don't think we expected too much to happen. We just we're there. Let's see what happens.
Just a curiosity.
Yeah. So that comes into play later, probably episode 2, all that stuff. But it's important to note. We set up camp, cut firewood, did all that stuff, and then we headed up to the cemetery during the day. So we wanted to check it out.
I wanted to get a lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
being a guy who spends a lot of time in the woods, if I'm going somewhere later on at night,
Well,
if I know I'm going there, I like to know what's there, so that way we weren't surprised, and it's the safest thing to do, honestly.
Right.
Honestly.
So this would be it.
So we are in Pioneer Cemetery, which is in Tuscarora State Forest.
Correct.
But it was part of a town called Pandemonium, which we don't know why it was called Pandemonium exactly.
Yes.
There's
two things we know that could be possibilities.
multiple theories on Pandemonium. So one was that the town, would you say the town kind of was made up of different
Ethnic groups.
Yeah, and they kind of got in an argument over what they were going to call it.
It was German, Irish, and I believe English settlers. And they were arguing over what language to have the church services in and what to call the town. And somebody stand up and said, we might as well call this place Pandemonium because this is nothing but pandemonium.
Because they were arguing.
Yes.
And that's kind of the legend story, but the land records go back and show the people who moved here were calling...
The people with the land warrants show that the guys that warranted the land, which it was Samuel Deal, and I think a Daniel Deal, and they used the name Pandemonium for the land records.
Right. So it seems like for whatever reason they chose the name. It's a very, very interesting name choice.
And then what else did we find? It was a Charles Deal?
Yes.
Charles Jr. Deal, or Charles Deal Jr. out of York County did a section of land in York County and called it Pandemonium.
Pandemonium as well. Right. So 2 deals. Were they related? Probably.
3.
3 deals.
3 deals, yes.
Okay, 3 deals. And these Allison's maiden name is Deal, and they are, we think, distant relatives. They're not direct relatives of hers. But we think that she is related distantly to that Deal. So they're the other Deals.
It'd be curious to go back in the land records and find out which part of York County was called Pandemonium.
Very interesting to find that out. Absolutely. That's kind of the next thing we got to dig into a bit.
Yeah, 255 acres, that's a lot of land.
So let me come around there, because that's an interesting place to... So the other story associated with this cemetery, well, one of the other stories, is that supposedly an escaped slave,
it was
a young girl,
coming up through north on the Underground Railroad,
and she had climbed a tree
in the middle of the night.
At nighttime, and then some dogs, I guess, caught scent of her or something.
Yeah, the local, I guess the people that lived in the area, their coon hounds, caught her scent, and they treed her.
But they thought she was a bear.
Yes.
And they shot her, supposedly.
Because back then, they didn't have flashlights or anything. We're talking, 1800s.
Right.
And they were using lanterns, and by the light of the lanterns, they thought she was a black bear, and they shot her and killed her.
Supposedly, she's buried right outside the cemetery from the
northeast corner.
There's a toad in there.
You serious?
Yeah. See it? There you go.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's amazing. So, people have left, I guess, flowers and offerings and bears
all
and
kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff on the grave of this, where they think the slave girl is buried. They think it's marked by this big stone here. And I heard something rustle in there, and I looked down, and there's a little toad in there. So this is a very interesting place. So there are flags and teddy bears and jewelry. I think, is this a saint's medal here? I'll have to ask Mark if he recognizes that.
A bag for money.
Yeah. So like toys and
yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
That people are definitely leaving offerings here of their own sort.
Now, there's another story Now, I've heard different things, and these two are interconnected. So supposedly there's a spirit of a little girl named Sadie that comes out in the night inside the cemetery.
Okay.
And walks around. And then another story says that this young woman comes up in the middle of the night and tries to get into the cemetery. So are they one and the same? I don't know. But
right.
That's just two stories, that are associated with this place. And, you had to remember, back in the day, this was pretty remote.
A toad's just hanging out. I love toads.
Well, didn't we see a toad when we were down in Hex Hollow?
We saw one
when we were hiking down Hex Hollow.
Didn't we see one at White Rocks too? When we were in
we
all
saw
the ferns?
one at White Rocks?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
When we were off trail through the ferns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, this area was also known as Henry's Valley. And there's an actual ghost town in this area. When I say ghost town, I mean like abandoned town. And I think it ran from the late 1700s to...
now, you mean besides Pandemonium, or you're talking about Pandemonium?
Pandemonium, okay. Yes. So, we're also going to be checking out some of the ruins.
Yeah.
The steam tannery and all that stuff. So the major industry for this area was a steam tannery because the trees were good for tanning leather. So they would run a steam tannery down by the creek, and a lot of people would work there. I think they ran a cider press here also.
Cool.
And the people would, harvest land. Back then there were no game laws, so they could just, live off the land. And you had to be pretty hardy because, this was, like I said, really remote. And I think what they did is the town ran from late 1700s to maybe early 1900s, and then they all left.
Yeah, and there were some kind of tragic stories of people getting killed and so forth. There's the guy, was it Schweitzer? Was that his name?
Schweitzer, yes.
Schweitzer. Who was he the one in the forest fire?
Yes, the peddler in the forest fire.
Yeah, so I guess they said they don't know whether the fire drove him out onto the rocks and then he passed out and fell, or what.
Yeah, they don't know where. There's an area they call Chimney Rocks, and then what I found, the area was called Horsehead Rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I haven't found, looking at the maps yet, Horsehead Rocks, but names change.
And another guy was found murdered. I have the story about his murder.
Yeah, you actually found the newspaper article, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was it James Hazel?
James Hazel. You heard us talk about him on that clip. He's the fellow that was shot, and that Hazel's Trail is named after. We have the actual news of his death from 1883. This is January 6, 1883, from the Shippensburg News. On Tuesday, December 19th, James Hazel, a resident of Henry's Valley, Toboyne Township, Perry County, and a companion arranged to meet at a point on the mountain for the purpose of engaging in a turkey hunt. The companion repaired to the spot agreed upon, but was unable to find Hazel. Later in the day, he returned home, but Hazel failed to do so. Search was at once instituted for the missing man, and the mountains scoured until Saturday, when Hazel's dead body was found at a point 2.5 miles distant from his home. He had been shot in the back, the ball penetrating the lung and piercing the heart. It is supposed that he was killed instantly. His loaded gun was found standing against an adjacent tree. The inquest held on Saturday afternoon failed to develop any additional particulars to those noted, although the residents of the vicinity have their suspicions as to the perpetrator of the dastardly deed. So I thought that was interesting. They think they might know who it is.
Yeah. I mean, it was a small community. They had to know everybody in that community, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. News also made it to York County. This is from the York Gazette, 2nd of January, 1883. James Hazel of Toboyne Township in the extreme western end of Perry County went on the mountain on Tuesday of last week to hunt turkeys. Failing to return in the evening, search was instituted and continued until Saturday, when his dead body was found 2.5 miles from his home. He was shot in the back, the ball passing through the lungs and heart. His loaded gun was leaning against an adjacent tree. The inquest failed to develop any additional particulars. Hazel's property was recently destroyed by fire. So that's a little bit of additional info in the York article.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So are they suggesting that someone had it out for him? Like they burned his house down or whatever?
Could possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other article says the townspeople think they know who did it. And then this one says his house was just...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to find out if he was like married or anything like that, or, you know, if he was an outcast, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm hoping to find more information on the town. I mean, I'm working on that right now.
Well, I think we're going to be back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
that's not a doubt.
Actually, you've been there multiple times since we went.
Yes, I have.
We've been there together twice, and then you've been, what, two more times?
Two more times, yeah. 2 more times. And I've scouted out the rest of the town that we didn't walk. Mm-hmm. And I found out there were ruins above where we were staying, which was part of the town, not part of the CCC camp.
Right. So it's just right above where we were.
Right across the road, right up.
Oh, yes. So we literally could have thrown a rock and hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt. We were in town.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find that man they talk about, Schweitzer, which we talk about on the tape.
Yes.
That peddler who died. I cannot find any more information on him. So he's just in the one article. They mentioned that he died in that fire. He went out on Horsehead Rocks. And then
we did locate Horsehead Rocks. So.
Yeah, which is cool. I can't wait to get back there during a non-rattlesnake time.
Yeah, just to mention this also, we were visited by the rangers. I mean, we weren't even there like an hour, and they came in and they warned us, you know, hey, just know I know about the rattlesnake dangers and I keep an eye out, but they're like, yeah, just so you know, there are rattlers in this area. And we did see one.
Yeah, we did.
We were there.
It was my first rattlesnake. I'd never seen one in the wild before. So that was kind of cool for me to actually see that.
From what I understand, there was a trail called Hazel Trail. Now, I haven't located on the maps, but that doesn't mean there isn't one up here.
We should ask the rangers.
I didn't think about it. Yeah.
Either. Yeah.
So I'm going to, do some more exploring and find out. And then I think there was another person.
There was the CCC worker who got ran over by the bulldozer.
Yeah, down the road. Back in if anybody doesn't know, back in the 1930s, part of the act to put people to work, they did civilian conservation corps camps all over Pennsylvania. And a lot of our state forests and state parks in PA were built in the 1930s by these gentlemen. One of them, they were making a road. I think it was Bower Mountain Road. And a bulldozer literally ran them over.
Now, is that Dead Man's Curve or is that something else?
That's at Dead Man's Curve. I think that's why they call it Dead Man's Curve.
Okay.
So.
And we're going to spend the night here. See what happens.
Yes. So. And we're what? We're like right on the edge of the town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this is Pandemonium, we're right there. I mean, I don't think there's a closer campsite.
No, there isn't.
Yeah,
there isn't.
We are.
And and we're in the remains of the CCC camp.
Yeah,
is where we're at.
Yeah.
We did what we thought we were in the town, based on because there's rocks.
Yeah,
rock cairns everywhere around us.
Ruined foundations, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another guy, and we'll see if we can't find his name. There's a man named David Shambaugh, and he helped free slaves in the Civil War. And he was killed while hauling bark down to the tannery. And it's a sad story. He left a wife and 4 small children, and 2 of the children were placed in the soldiers' orphanage. So what they would do is they'd cut bark and take it down the tannery, and they use oak bark and all that in the process of making leather. And he was, so here's another tragedy,
right,
in this area. And then I think there was, I don't know exactly how far it is from here, but there was a plane.
Oh yeah.
The cargo carrier plane in 1956 crashed.
Right.
And everybody was killed.
And then we have, once again, a place with a devil/demon name.
Yes.
It's a little more obscure. Pandemonium. It's not like, Devil's Peak or something like that, but it's a devil-demon name. I'm going to get some photos of the cemetery.
Yeah.
So the town the last people moved out early 1900s, right?
Early 1900s.
So it's possible that there are photos of what Pandemonium looked like.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Because it was photography in the Civil War before.
And it was very common around 1907, like say 1905 to 1912, to take pictures of like towns and have photo postcards. So it's very possible that there are photos out there of Pandemonium, which would be awesome. So we have to look for those.
Yes. Now that was definitely a building there. Straight down below us. See how the flat rocks are flat?
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. Okay. So, just a second ago, I looked up there, and that one flat rock had a Cairn on it. I turned around and talked to you. It's gone.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
I saw you looking up there. I thought you were looking at that kind of stack of rocks beyond. Wow. Okay, well, let's put something else there.
Yeah, because I remember I looked up at you and I was going to...
I saw you looking this way.
And yeah, I looked up here because I saw the Cairn. And I was thinking, oh, that'd be a good place to put something. And then I turned around for you to ask me the question because it was in the sun.
Wow. Yeah, I saw you looking at this. See, I thought you were looking at that.
No, I was looking
beyond,
right here at this flat rock, and I saw the
Wow.
sun, and the Cairn was on it,
Huh.
and it was gone.
Well,
That is freaky.
let's make one then.
Yes, absolutely. It was 3 rocks.
Here's a nice flat one.
And now I need a smaller rock.
Let's crown it with a...
Give me that one right there by your walking stick.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. That was nuts. Iron ore.
Yep. Yeah, there's iron in the rocks here. All right, take a photo of that, please.
Yeah, because I looked up and I saw the flat rock and I saw it in the sun. I'm like, oh, that looks like a Cairn. We should probably come up here and like see put something here. And I turned around when I was talking to you and turned around and it was freaking gone.
That's nuts.
I didn't hear anything.
No, I didn't hear anything.
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
The tape was running,
Yeah.
so, I don't know that there'll be anything to hear, but I still say tape. Tape. I haven't used tape in 15 years.
That was spooky.
Huh.
Wow.
That's cool. I don't know. Something told me to walk over here. That's all. But
Well, like I said, I looked up the hill and I saw the Cairn. I'm like, oh, it looks like somebody put a Cairn there.
yeah.
And I'm like, that might be a good place. And then I turned around, we were talking about when the town was abandoned, and then I turned around and it's freaking gone.
Wow.
It couldn't have fallen over. We would have heard the rock shift. It was what, not even 15 feet from where we were standing.
Maybe.
Maybe 15.
Yeah, maybe.
Max. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we might be in for an interesting night here.
Look at that tree.
Wow. Yeah, get a photo of that.
That's cool looking. Don't
Yeah.
hold the hand.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
We haven't even gotten down to the Tannery or anything yet.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean, that's just pareidolia, but it's cool pareidolia.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah.
it was anything. It's just
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's cool looking. That tree's in Sauron's army.
Urukai.
Or Saruman's army.
Yeah,
yeah.
Urukai.
Yeah.
Great.
about these rocks here? There's no mention of a chapel or anything being nearby the cemetery, right?
Not that I know. I mean, who knows how much...
They could be thrown here when they cleared land for the cemetery. Or when,
yes.
Yeah. They were digging graves and hit rocks.
That over there was a building of some sort.
I think you're right, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think we're in for an interesting night. We'll see.
And what's funny is that happened just like a couple minutes before the crows were hollering. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost on cue.
I think we're going to have an interesting night, my friend. Tim. As soon as we got in this place, my hair was standing on end.
Wow. You're like a, what do they call those meters that the ghost hunters use?
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird. And then my hair was standing up when we walked over there with the...
something told me just walk over there. Like something said go that way. I try not to ignore those things when I get those feelings.
Well, I had heard that little snap or whatever going that direction when we got here. But there were people here before we got here.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it could be a squirrel. Squirrels make a ton of noise.
Yeah, exactly. I've had my pants scared off in the woods before. Looked over and it was a little squirrel.
Lots of spider webs.
I did an album that was like ambient music, and I used like creek sounds. So I recorded a bunch of creeks around different parks and stuff. I would come on these creeks and I would record them. And you never realize how much noise pollution there is until you try to get like a pure recording. Like
the playing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You rarely ever get that pure silence where you can get something without human noises in it.
I think our best bet will be tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I would have to wait and wait, and then like wait till planes came over, and then like put the recorder down the other creek, and like please,
Yes.
But I mean, eventually I got several hours of creek recordings with people not in them. But it's actually a lot harder than you think, with planes flying overhead and stuff.
There is a spot in the U.S. and I can't remember what it was. I'll find out, and it's supposed to be listed as a quiet spot.
Oh, so no overhead.
No overhead noise, no nothing, and it's supposed to be one of the most silent spots.
Well, we're getting too much north of here. You get in one of the areas that has the least light pollution.
It's actually a state park in Pennsylvania called Cherry Springs, and I would suggest people to go see it because it is one of the darkest spots on the East Coast.
Kind of middle north of the state, is it?
Yeah, it's Potter County.
Okay.
And it is gorgeous. I mean, I never seen the sky like that. I mean, it blows your mind how much you see. And it's literally listed as a dark spot. Like it's like an official dark spot. And when you go there, you have to use a red light. Or they have red lenses you can put over your top of your flashlight because that doesn't mess with your night sight. And we went there during a meteor shower.
Oh, wow. I bet it was beautiful.
And it was beautiful. And this was crazy. And I've seen the Northern Lights in PA. It's very rare.
I saw them in Massachusetts, but never in Pennsylvania.
But I've saw them here in Pennsylvania. And it was usually a very cold night, like February. And it was deathly cold. And I was in the Pigeon Hills. And, in our area, it's like red and green. And I know what they look like. But I swear to you, the sky was lighting with a soft glow, like it would kind of ebb, then go back, real slow, and it was like green and red and different colors, and the Milky Way is just
wow.
It is mind blowing. I mean, it is something you have to go see. It is so worth it, And wintertime's the best because the sky is clearest.
Put it on my bucket list.
Yes. I mean, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Not a problem. But, man, it was so worth it. I mean, you don't realize. I mean, you get to see the sky as our ancestors saw.
Yeah, that's
because
amazing.
You think of these, the ancient civilizations, and they're staring at the sky, and you're like, how do they see this stuff without a telescope? Well, it's because they don't have the light pollution like we have.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. So, Mark.
Yes.
We're standing over there. When we got here, I heard a crunch over there. Could have been a squirrel. We're standing there and we're looking at what could be some ruins. And I looked over Tim's shoulder up the hill,
and there was some light on some of the what was probably an old foundation, and there was a cairn there. I'm like thinking, oh, you know, we'll put something there and we'll change it. So turn around, and Tim and me were talking, and he was asking me questions. I turned back around, it's gone. Like that.
What was gone?
The cairn was gone. There were 3 rocks stocked on the cairn. Just like that, it was gone.
Can you show me where it was?
I can show you exactly where it was.
Yeah,
now we restacked.
Yeah, we stacked because we wanted to see what would happen if we stacked them up.
I'll leave something back there.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Let me get some more.
Yeah.
There's gifts all over.
I don't want to leave any more food there because I want to see what happens. I want to see, because to me, if it's a cairn and that's its play thing,
Okay.
we'll see if it
You know,
changes that. 3 stones stacked on top, and
you looked and you saw it. And
I turned around. I was talking to Tim, and I'm like this, looking up
Did
the
you see
hill.
it, Tim? Or
I
no?
didn't see it because I thought he was looking beyond where he was looking.
saw me looking.
I saw him looking. I kind of looked back that way, and I thought, oh, he's looking at another foundation.
And I was going to say, you know, let's put something there. And then I turned around, and we were discussing about the history. And then I turned around again, and I'm like, oh my God, it's gone.
Yeah,
It didn't hear it fall. I mean, it was less than 15 feet from us.
Yeah, so we were standing here and talking basically, and
you're right over here.
the sun was hitting on it perfect, like it was directly shining on it.
You're standing right here. And I can see it through the trees. It's straight right there, where this end comes down. See the 3 rocks on there, on top there? That we placed there. See it? On top, on the flat rock.
And the sun was just beating right down on it.
Right on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I saw 3 rocks just like that, just like we have them. And then I turned around and talking to him, and we're discussing what this could be,
down.
you know, buildings here. And I turned around and I'm like, oh my God, it's gone.
Let me go look at that.
Yeah, you can. You can just go around this way. There's a trail right here. There's obviously a trail here. Tim, this is the trail.
Here, I'm going to go over this way. Go ahead, I'm eating that.
Okay, so something snapped this off.
Yeah, and that's been that way for a while. The leaves are dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is definitely a high use area. It's up over there. See that?
You talking about the rocks there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how big this town was.
I don't have a layout. I really don't.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to know.
But that's where exactly how they were stacked. I kid you not.
And the sun was just beating right down on it.
You saw what you saw, and then you looked away, and it wasn't like that.
It was gone.
See, I thought you were looking like beyond that. Like
No.
Which actually might as well check them out while we're here.
Well, you know what? That's good. That's good that we're teeing off one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, what I saw was exactly that. And then I turned around and talked to Jim, and then that rock was completely empty. This one. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just like not doubting you for a second, but I'm just looking anywhere else there might be a cairn.
No, go right ahead. I want you to.
Just in case, you know.
But the sun was, you know, and that's what I found was interesting, because the sun was hitting this.
Was it about the size of the one you built?
That's exactly the size of the one we built.
All right.
Just like that.
Okay.
3 stones like that. And I turned around, and it was gone. And there wasn't any evidence of stones having fallen down. Tim, did you flip this over?
What's that? I pulled up a little stone out of the ground.
No, this is bigger.
No, I didn't mess with anything big. I pulled that little flat square stone, remember, and then you asked me for the one by... No, I didn't do that. No. Yeah.
This was in there. That's just been put there not too long ago.
Because yeah.
That was like that.
Interesting. That's interesting.
You were looking up there to see if there was any other cairn?
I just thought, just in case, like I said.
No, man.
Just because, maybe you look somewhere and then look back in the wrong place. But I mean, like I said, the sun was beating right down there. It's hard to miss.
The sun had it completely marked.
Yeah. But just in case, I figured, well, I'll look for another cairn.
No, I want you to.
Yeah.
I need to have that.
Yeah, just.
I'm sorry. That's weird. Now, could there have been? There's no way a person did that because there was nobody here.
But that one there could have been used.
Okay, come here. Not saying.
I'm coming.
Yeah. This didn't happen today. Because so that wood is, like, you can tell it's cutting into that rock. So that wood's been laying there. See what I'm saying? This has been laying here. It's cut into you can see where the rock's
Yes.
But does this not look like a cairn that fell over?
Yes.
Does that not look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm spitballing.
Set it back up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I know the spot because it's like...
Set it back up and add to it, and I'll add to it.
Yeah.
But like I said, the spot I saw had the sun dead on it.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying this is what you saw.
No, you're just saying that could be another one.
That's been there for a long time. That limb was cut into.
Is this shale?
Huh.
I find a piece of quartz, I'm taking it.
I think Tim will find something.
I would like a piece of quartz from this area.
Tim's going to be the one that's going to find something.
Do we know geologically if this area has quartz?
Could. I don't know for sure.
Actually, we should go to the creek and look around a little bit before it gets dark, and we can actually get a better idea of what stones are around.
Mm-hmm. It should be here.
I would think. If you got iron, you got quartz usually.
Yeah.
But I am not a geologist.
Neither am I.
So we're recording this earlier in the night than I normally record podcasts because Chad has a real job. And
if you call it that.
You might hear a kind of chirping sound in the background. I live near a high school, and they are having band practice. So that is their metronome, if that comes through on the mic. Hopefully it doesn't. Can't stop them from having band practice.
That's important.
So I think that was our first indication, the Cairn, that things are going to get weird.
That things were going to ramp up. And just to note, this was when we first went to the cemetery. It was still daylight. It was between, 5 and 6 o'clock.
Yep.
The sun was just kind of starting to get low.
Yeah, but plenty of light.
Plenty of light. We could see, and these woods aren't super thick.
No,
they're open.
Not real brushy.
No.
And the light, it was weird because the sunlight was like coming through the trees and like beaming on that spot.
Yes.
Where the cairn was.
And that's what I said there. That's what made me take notice of it, because we were about 20 feet from the back of the cemetery, because there's another road that comes off the main road that goes up to the cemetery. And we had walked through the cemetery, and we were literally in the middle of the town, what would have been the town. And I think we were standing on a flat spot, and we were looking down at the road, just kind of discussing some things. And I had turned around and looked up above you, because you spend enough time with me in the woods now, I'm constantly scanning.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I do. And I was looking up, and I just kind of took note. I'm like, oh, there's a cairn there. And the sunlight's beaming right on it, and it was obviously the remains of one of the buildings. And I noticed, 3 rocks stacked on this big flat rock, and I'm like, yeah, I want to tell Tim about that. After you were done discussing, we turned around, we were talking. I turned back around, and then I turned back around, and it was gone.
Wow.
And it was just gone. It was strange.
The other interesting thing you said was that the cairn we ended up building, so we went up there.
Yes.
And built one.
Yes.
You can hear it on the tape.
It seemed appropriate.
Yeah. You said it looked just like
the rocks we used.
Yeah.
And which was really weird is those rocks were somewhat buried in the ground.
Yeah, I was pulling them out of the ground.
Yeah. when I stacked them, it was exactly like the cairn I saw.
Wow. Yeah. This area, which is what is that west of the cemetery?
Yeah.
This comes into play on our second visit as well. That's kind of the major area of activity on that second visit. Comes to play later in this visit as well.
Yeah.
But,
comes to play in a couple visits, actually.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Something's going on there. It's on the recording. I don't know how much it jumped out. The cedar ball that Tobe gave me, I left at the cemetery when we were up there on that first visit.
Yes.
I put it on the wall. The stone I put it on was kind of angled backwards, and there was kind of a little pocket in the stone. I didn't want it to roll away, so I kind of laid it into this pocket, so gravity would have pushed it, kind of into the pocket in this stone.
Yes.
And I left it there. And I thought, well, that'll be a neat place to leave something. And again, Mark here left a few apples out, I think.
He left some apples, I think some cinnamon, I think some other herbs.
Yeah, he was doing more kind of like conjure offerings and stuff. He kind of went off on his own and did his thing. We were kind of exploring.
Yeah, I think we explored. There's an old haul road that's right above that.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that. And then, just going to mention this now, when we were coming back, I had noticed while we were walking out of the cemetery to where the spot where we saw the cairn had disappeared, there was a tree that...
Yes, you can hear us discuss that on there.
Yes.
That handprint tree is so neat, and I'll probably use that as the image for the episode. It looked like a perfect weird handprint, but a handprint on the tree. It looks spooky.
Yeah, and it wasn't like an animal had done it or
anything.
No. It was a natural.
Yeah,
it just was,
and it wasn't a real hand.
It was
obviously,
huge. Yeah, it was big.
But it looked like. I mean, it was naturally occurring. It's it's handprint pareidolia, I guess you would call it. But
it was really cool. It was worth a photo. That's for sure.
It was really cool. It was really, really cool. All right, so then we went down to the location of the Tannery. So this was the steam tannery. Well, this is the foundation, what's left of the foundation of the steam tannery.
Yes.
It had to be somewhat big, you would think. It was the main business, right?
Yes. This was the main business for the people of the area. And they would cut the trees and use the bark, bring the bark. Above the cemetery was the haul road. And then they would haul the bark down here, and then they would use that to extract the chemicals they needed to tan the hides. And even though there's not much water coming through it now, but obviously that was man-made for water.
Yeah, like a little canal kind of thing.
Yeah, to come off of Laurel Run. So you can see it right here. And that ran what? 1840 to 1880. About 40 years. I mean, obviously they have the road built over here now, but you can tell that was all the original.
Yeah.
And I guess it had a steam engine that turned whatever they needed to turn. I don't know what was all involved.
Yeah, so the little canal cut or whatever was probably just to feed the water for the whatever steam, however they use steam for it.
It's relatively flat here too. Now there's a wall up there on that bank. See it?
Yep.
And I think that's where it sat. See how it's flat like a terrace up there? You can see the stones are there, so that would have sat up on the hill a little bit.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you just build it? Well, I guess the creek can flood. You want it a little bit away from the creek.
Yeah. My guess, and I think you're right. And this is Laurel Run.
Beautiful red right there.
Oh, yeah. Intense.
That's Joe Pye weed over there on the other side.
That red stuff looks like bee balm. I'm sure that is bee balm. Back in those days.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that long ago. Really. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's really
it's not.
It's really not that long ago. And there's hardly anything left of the town. You know what I mean? There's the cemetery, a few foundations. Like, I can only think that some of those buildings were just intentionally knocked down so people wouldn't mess around in them or something, because
Yeah.
there's just piles of
Well,
stone.
you figure, after the town was gone, it was probably just empty land until the Park Service took it over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the school was one of the last buildings.
Yeah, I think there's one of the articles talks about the teacher was there
Yeah.
until he had one student.
Yep.
They kept it.
And that's dedication.
Yeah, it's
it's really
kinda
dedication.
awesome. Stayed till literally to the last student.
And it was, once the Tannery closed, that was probably it.
Yeah. I'm sure it just dwindled away after that. Because there's not much around here. We can say that for sure.
No. Now, down from our camp, where we're camping tonight, this is a little ways down, but what dropped off the hill, like a steep drop off, and it was just nothing but swamp.
Yeah, it's a big swamp behind
Big swamp below us. Because we tried to find a creek, but it
should be fun for bugs.
Yeah. Well, I think we're far up enough from it. I don't think it'll be too bad. But there were just old foundations all around us, and we thought that, like I said, we were in the town. And I knew for sure the first foundation as we came in used to be a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
A ranger cabin. And they used to call it Sunday Place.
Yeah, they said, I guess the rangers we talked to said they have photos of the guy and his family, I think.
Do they?
Yeah.
We'll have to, back at the
I assume.
park, we'll have to stop and get a picture of that. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I assume
That would be kind of cool.
This is something we didn't know was here. The park rangers told us.
Yes, and this is, this is why it's good, like, to talk to the park rangers and, talk to the locals in the area,
This is apparently from the CCC camp times.
So that would have dated it to the 1930s during the Depression.
And it was a dynamite shack. They stored their dynamite here.
Yeah.
Which I find super interesting because of the Point Pleasant connection with what they call the TNT area.
We'll go around.
Yeah. And
There's my quartz.
also because I found a dynamite factory, or stories of a dynamite factory, along Trout Run, which crosses Toad Road.
So
that blew up.
So what's with dynamite?
I don't know. What's the connection with that? Is there a connection, or is it all coincidence? I don't know. But there's a dynamite shack here too. Let's light a match and just throw it inside and see what happens.
Well, I guess it has the holes in it to burn it.
Yep.
I would guess the dynamite would sweat nitrous. Hold on.
Definitely a thick door on it. See how it's
yes.
It's like iron and then 2 layers of wood. That's
Yeah.
neat.
It's in great shape.
Here, come here. Come on. You wanna go in or not?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm in.
It's a skinny man's game.
I'm not going.
Yeah.
I can sit in. I don't want to go in.
I don't do spelunking.
Yeah. I'm not down.
Yeah.
It's a good place for bats.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal how much
Yeah,
good shape
you
this
can
is
see
in.
the woodwork.
I mean, they really.
Well, they'd have to build it sturdy, you would think, or you'd think they'd want to.
Really strong.
Can you see up to the peak, or do they have a?
No, they have it closed off.
I'm surprised how nice it is inside of it.
Yeah.
It's like in really good shape.
I mean, this is what, 80 years old?
Something like that.
There's a swallow nest in here, or barn swallow.
Watch those nails coming
watch
out.
the nails.
Awesome.
Yeah, worth the hike.
Worth it.
Yeah.
officially Tim's shack.
Well, if I have to live in it.
Yeah, honestly, it was really nice inside there.
Yeah. Surprised more critters haven't made a home out of it, honestly.
There was some detritus in the corners,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, it honestly surprisingly built well. I was impressed. I mean,
Yeah, it looks solid.
It's pretty inside. You know, if you clean the wood up, it's really nice clinking.
Those hinges are cool too on that door. See the way they're it's like those are serious hinges. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely serious, and it's crazy how far this is from where we're staying.
Oh yeah. That was a cool dynamite shack though.
Yeah, it was neat.
First thing the park, well, not the first thing, but one of the first things the park ranger say to us is, "Oh, you should go check out the dynamite shack. It's right down here," and they gave us directions to it.
Yeah, and we're like, "What?"
But it was a neat building, and if you couldn't tell by the audio, Chad went inside. We could only pry the door open so far, so I wasn't getting in there.
Well, it was overgrown around a lot of it too, and door was thick.
Oh yeah.
And what really surprised me was, so I don't know if anybody's seen the videos or the pictures, but just to kind of describe for those who haven't.
Oh, the ones you put up.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll link to them in the show notes, but I'm thinking most people probably haven't seen them. Okay.
But basically, what it is it was a block building, and it had some vents in it. For those of you who don't know it, dynamite does sweat nitroglycerin, so you need to have some venting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was made of heavy, like block, and then on the inside was wood. And I was so blown away by how the wood was like in pristine shape.
Considering everything else has fallen down.
Yes.
All the other, so this dynamite check would have held dynamite for the CCC camp.
Yes.
That's where they would have stored their dynamite, because they're building roads every now and then. They got to blast through stuff or whatever. It was in wonderful condition.
Absolute condition, and that was basically because it had to be built very strong, very sturdy.
Yeah.
And the wood is to deaden the explosion, and the block was to contain it. But I mean, that wood, it was so beautiful. I would want that for paneling in my house. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, if we cleaned it up a bit, it would have been nice.
Yeah. It was just a cool.
That was a cool landmark.
I do believe they said they're scattered throughout the rest of the forest.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Because that's not something you want to move all the time,
especially over rough mountain roads.
Yeah, so you would probably just like store it in certain spots, and then, after they were done, you just abandon that shack and build a new one. So we'll have to find the other ones. That would be kind of neat to have like a plot them out.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Be neat.
So then we went back to camp, and Mark left.
Yeah.
We just made dinner.
Yeah, I had dinner. We had a great dinner. I lit the fire off, and
it was just hanging out, talking.
Yep.
I think we heard some owls. There was some things got our attention. I think they ended up being owls.
Yeah.
That we heard.
Yeah, we heard some owls, and
worth noting, owls are always wound into this stuff. Whether it's just because owls are always out at night and people tend to hear owls when they're out doing this stuff, I don't know. But we did hear some owls, and then. I'm guessing it was around, 9-10 p.m.?
I would say it was like around 9:30. Around 9:30, somewhere around that.
There was this bang that my mind immediately went to the construction equipment. Because there was this construction equipment right up from us.
Right where I parked the car.
We talk about it later. There was a grader up there. In any case, that's parked right up there. But it didn't sound that close. But it didn't sound too much further away. So in my head, I immediately imagined we heard the sound like there was a bulldozer or something, and someone took a baseball bat type,
or a metal rod or something, a wrench, even a wrench,
and just bang hit this thing as hard as they could. That's that's where my mind immediately went to. Somebody, maybe a kid, was out messing around, and they just hauled off and hit some of this construction equipment.
Yeah,
because it was a metallic bang, and it was loud.
Yes, it echoed throughout the valley.
It was loud enough where you said, let's get in the car and drive around because maybe it was a car accident. We got to check.
Yeah, I was afraid that somebody was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at that time, there was nobody in this valley but us.
Right. Yeah.
We did drove around. There were some cabins like up on the other mountain, a good ways away.
There were cabins way up. I don't know if anybody was there. I know the cabin that was close to the dynamite shack, nobody was there.
Yeah, nobody was there. That was the only cabin that was in the Pandemonium area.
Right. Nobody else was camping around. We looked not only did we look for people because we want to know who's around, we look for people during the day, but at night we look for fires and lights and stuff. We did not see them, see anyone else rather. Some kids, we assume kids, did drive through later.
Yeah, they came by. We had already returned. Like I said, we got in the Forerunner and we drove up.
Just drove around, make sure things were okay.
Went up to the cemetery again. Didn't see nothing. I mean, we weren't even gone 5 minutes, if even that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see anything. Another source that could have possibly been in is there's a bridge.
Right by the Tannery.
Right by the Tannery that goes across the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And there is metal guardrails on top.
Yeah, and I thought about that later too. Maybe somebody took something, whatever it was hard. It wasn't like a rotten piece of wood.
No,
it was hard enough to make a plang.
Yeah.
So we're talking like a big, thick piece of wood or something.
Something heavy. Hit whatever it hit was metal. It was no doubt a metallic sound, and there was no way it sounded like anything else because I don't even think it even sounded like a car crashing. I mean,
it really didn't. But like I said, I think whatever it was, it disturbed you enough where you're like, well, let's make sure nobody's hurt.
It was heavy metal. Whatever got hit, the metal that was hit was heavy.
Yeah.
Because
it made that clang.
So then we came back, and I think we sat there.
Well, then we were going to go up to the cemetery, but remember those kids or whoever it was came by in those 4-wheel drive vehicles.
Yes, it was 2 trucks and a car, and we were going to go back up, and then I said, look, we just drove up there. Let's wait, like a half hour, an hour?
Something like that.
And let things settle.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back, and then that's when these kids came by.
And they actually got out. At one point, they got out, and we saw their headlamps.
We saw headlamps. We heard car doors slam.
Yeah, and we thought,
laughing.
What's going on here? Like, are they going to mess with us? You know, what is this? But they didn't. They got back in their cars and drove away. Yeah. So they were, 5 minutes they were there?
Maybe? 5, maybe 10 at the most. And I just think they were, Saturday night. Mm-hmm. I think it was just local kids who were like, hey, let's go check out this place.
Yeah.
It's known to the locals.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's, 10, 11 o'clock at night. We're here in camp right now, right?
Yeah.
Sitting here with the lanterns. We just ate dinner a little bit. We plan on going to the cemetery in a little bit here and checking things out at night. And we had a couple little jumps, right?
Yeah, nice big loud bang. It sounded metallic.
Yeah.
We're assuming it was a car, but it sounded loud and close-ish.
Yeah.
Close enough where we went up to check the car.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure. So I just brought up something to Tim. He actually wants me to relate the story here. I should have known he would want this. I was just kind of... So me and my wife moved into our house probably about not quite 3 years ago. November will be 3 years. And the house was built in 1945 by a gentleman by what was his last name? Might have been Altland. I could be wrong. His father had given him a small piece of land, just like a third of an acre. And this is in the Pigeon Hills, which is where I grew up. And, we are literally like a football field from where my great-grandma lived. Him and his wife built the house. It's nothing special. It's just a little Cape Cod. And they lived there, I don't know, up till when we moved in. So he passed away. I don't know if they have any kids or not. I don't know. But he passed away. And his wife lived there. Her name was Dorothy. And Dorothy. And she lived there up until she died. A flipper bought the house, redid the house, and then we moved in. And this was so recently and this is kind of gross but weird, when we cleaned the one drain in the tub was clogged, and I cleaned it out, and her hair was in the drain.
Oh yeah.
So that's how close recently this, So we lived there. We've lived there for, like I said, close going on 3 years. And I'd say after about a year, a couple little weird things started happening. Like, my wife had article of clothing, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's kind of a private article of clothing. And it was dark gray, and it would disappear. Just disappear. And it would be gone for a while, then reappear. And, none of this
really bothers us, if you know what I mean. You know, we don't get upset about it or anything. And then finally got to the point where my wife was like, Dorothy, can I please have this article of clothing back? And it hasn't disappeared since then, which is strange. So we recently got a dog about 5 months ago. And, you know, I took him out, and this was probably about a month ago. I took him out, walked outside, and it was probably, 10 o'clock at night. We went out. I took him into the yard. He went to the bathroom. Came back in. We were coming in through the door. I turned the light off on the porch. I just come in the door, and I'm standing in front of the door. I unhook the dog, and I hear this right at the door. Now, granted, this door has a window in it, okay? So I'm standing in front of the door, and I hear that. Dog barks. My wife goes, who is that? And I turn around, I flick the light on, and I open up the door, and there's nobody there.
Matter of seconds?
Seconds. I mean, I have my back to the door, and you have to get up on the porch to get to the back door. Mm-hmm. And the light is right there, you know, it shines out, and my car's there, you know,
right.
Our driveway is right there.
Right, yeah.
And we had just come in. Within, like, literally, I come in, I shut the door, I turn around, I unhook the dog, and I hear the knock. I spin around, the dog barks, goes to the door, I'm like, who the hell? Turn the light on. And my wife goes, who's that? And I'm like, I don't know. And somebody just knocked at the door. Well, my wife then yells at me. She goes, whatever you do, shut the door. Don't let it in. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So apparently this had happened to her also about a week before. So nobody was there. Nobody was behind me. The kids were up in bed. And it just, you know.
And just those 2 times? Or?
Just those 2 times since then. And I wasn't like, hello, you know, I'm like, hello. And there's no way a person could have jumped up on that porch.
Right.
Right behind me, much less, you know, walked in, because the dog would have barked if a person would have been out in the yard.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we've had
Yeah, that's a weird one.
We've had some stuff like that happen. The cats, we have 2 cats. And they'll act a little strange sometimes. I think not too long after when we moved in there, I had a feeling like something was like watching me when I was sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really strange.
Yeah, that's not a fun feeling.
I don't like that feeling at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything. It was just like, you know, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh my God, I startled myself. And I'm like, I need to, you know, and I just calmed down and I'm like, all right, you know, I think I'm fine. And I just went back to sleep. You know, didn't think anything of it, went back to sleep. And this was like right before, you know, we had the issue with the, my wife's article of clothing disappearing. It was so funny. It would disappear, then it'd come back, and it would show up in the weirdest spots.
Yeah, that's an apport. I mean, that's weird.
But the knock was freaky.
Yeah, that's.
Dude, I was standing right there. It was right behind me.
Wow. And your wife was in the room with you?
My wife was in the living room, which is like right. You know, we have a kitchen, dining room, and then the living room is right there. Our house is only a little over 1,000 square feet. It's not a very big house. So literally, she's right on the other wall. And yeah, I heard that knock, and she's like, "Who is?" And it was loud, just as loud as like. I mean, and it was like that. I mean, it was literally.
Wow.
That's how it was. And I turned around. I mean, it was right behind me. Turn around. Hello. Nobody there.
That's bizarre.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, and the dog heard it. He was barking, and you know, and it's just like, and this was before the graveyard. So this wasn't like,
right
when we went to Bethel,
right?
You know, when I had the investigation,
right?
But yeah,
more strangeness. Well, wall knocks. And I would put door knocks in that category.
Yeah, it's an outside wall.
Yeah, knocking is a thing. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but
and
I'd like to say there wouldn't be any more, but you know,
I have a feeling there's going to be more.
It'd be interesting to see how it develops.
I mean, the more this is going on, the more I'm out with this. It's just like something's. You know.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the disturbing thing, and it's the thing I wrestle with because, like I said, it's real. this stuff is real. I don't know what it is necessarily. I don't know what it means, but it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it'll touch you.
You know,
even doing so I've done Strange Familiars for 100 and however many episodes. 108 just came out.
108,
and then
okay,
plus
wow.
all the I didn't number the patron episodes in the beginning, so the first 20 some patron episodes I think weren't numbered.
Wow.
So really more than that, but. So, I do this literally on a weekly basis now, and it's in a way, it's still, I feel like I'm still hedging my bets when I talk about it sometimes. So I'm still like, well, it could be this, maybe it's that, maybe.
Well, yeah, and
it's just,
yeah.
it's a weird thing to acknowledge, but more and more I'm just getting to the place where it's like, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you it's something, like there's something there. I've had too many people I trust, and then too many of my own experiences with just something, like something too weird to be coincidence, something too weird to be nothing,
Yeah, and, people see things and things happen, and there has to be somebody, they're seeing something, and or they're experiencing something.
Right, yeah.
Whatever it is. And, you experience this stuff. And, the area I live in is full of old iron mines.
Mm-hmm.
Spring Grove was called Spring Forge before it was called Spring Grove, and the paper mill down there was a iron furnace at one time. And there's still holes everywhere up there that are full of water that were quarries for iron.
Right there along the Cador. I mean, that's a perfect place for well, it wouldn't be the only place along the Cadorus there's an iron forge.
Yeah.
There was one at where Cador State Park is.
Yeah, Marianne Furnace. Yep.
And then there would have been one there, and then of course Cador's Furnace. So all along there.
I mean, it's to the point like some spots the water is full of iron. You have to have a water softener to take care of it. And I know you've said there's been reports in the Pigeon Hills of like,
I've got UFO reports there, and
there's an old legend, and I think I've told you this one already before. There's a lake down the road from me called Lake Bahajico, and it is a man-made lake. And before that lake was put in, there was like a little valley, and there were reports of lights in that woods.
I believe it.
And then now there's been reports of lights above the lake now once in a while. Now I grew up there. I've never seen anything like that. But I'm just saying it's a legend that I know of. You see something?
I heard something.
What'd you hear?
Don't know. Some like movement, maybe. I don't know.
So down over the hill from the campsite, on one of the rock cairns, and this is what a good ways away from camp.
Yeah, we set up a cairn down there. There was a cairn in camp. On the stump that was there when we got here, and I changed that and put an acorn on top of it, and we'll see if that gets moved down over the hill from us. So I set one of the things that Tobe Johnson gave me, the owl feather, I believe, which he got at one of the owl moon sites, and then did you set slag out there from Cador's Furnace?
Yeah, a piece of slag glass from Cador's Furnace down there.
Slag from Cador's Furnace, and then. We made a little cairn there too, or did we?
I think there was no. We just put some stuff there. There was an acorn we put on top of there also.
On a flat rock, yeah. So we'll see. And then we built another cairn where the disappearing cairn was earlier.
Yeah, which was strange. I mean.
Yeah. So we'll see.
That was so crazy.
We'll see if that
changes.
Yeah. I might have heard the fire pop. I don't know.
Well, the fire just picked up, and I could have been. Usually, when the fire pops up like that, there is a little bit of pine in there.
Maybe. Yeah. It seemed like it was further back, but it could have been that. And like we said before, something little in the woods.
Oh yeah, squirrels sound like giant creatures.
Yeah, exactly. I've had my pants scared off by squirrels in the woods before.
And right down below us, where the hill comes down, where we put the owl feather and all that. It drops down like real steep, and then there's a swamp, literally a swamp.
Yeah. So our campsite is right on the edge of Pandemonium. I mean, we're right there. Like,
Yeah.
like
What?
On the edge of the town?
Yeah,
Pandemonium. I mean,
absolutely.
right-
We're on. We would be on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And we literally, when we came back from driving, checking it out earlier, it was like, oh my God, there's a campsite. We didn't really realize how close we were. We're dead in the middle of this. The wind just picked up.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
No, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're dead in the middle of what was the CCC camp. So I mean that in itself, and then we have a old ranger cabin up there right above us too. So
Yeah, we're basically amongst a bunch of ruins. We had to put our tents up in between.
ruins.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So wasn't planned that way. It just happened to work out that way.
Yeah. It's a nice campsite, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's beautiful, beautiful area.
Oh, absolutely.
Beautiful area.
I've never been to. This is my first time at Tuscarora. Am I pronouncing that right? Tuscarora?
Yes,
Is that-
correct.
My first time, and it's awesome. This is really nice.
This is my first time actually camping here. I've hiked here once and other parts of it. Just to give you a little bit of history also, there's a trail called the Tuscarora Trail that goes about I think it's 200 miles.
Oh, really? So
And
that
it
long?
goes from Shenandoah Valley, and it travels in Virginia, and it travels in an arc through Shenandoah, through West Virginia, through Maryland, up into PA.
Oh, wow.
It's actually further southwest of here, and it's west of Michelle. Travels in an arc and ends on the AT, terminates on the AT, and it's only about 30 minutes from my house, where I've never taken you there. But that mountain we came up over earlier, that's where Tuscarora follows that mountain.
Yeah, you pointed out at the time.
Yeah, the Tuscarora actually follows the tops of the mountains, and there's a reason for that, I'm going to tell you. And believe it or not, the Tuscarora is up over there. It's not that far from here. So it goes through this forest. And what it was is the Tuscarora Indians were trying to get to the Iroquois Nation. And there was a group of gentlemen called the Paxton Boys. And you're talking later 1700s. They were the ones that wiped out the Susquehannocks.
Okay,
and the Conestogas.
The massacre in Lancaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were notorious Indian haters. They would kill any Indians that came down the valley. So the Senecas were leading them to the Iroquois. They literally stayed on the mountaintops and would not come into the valley. And that's what the Tuscarora Trail follows, that old trail. So, and that's why it rides the mountaintops as much as possible. So just a little bit of history of the area. This area is full of a lot of history.
Yeah, it is. So then we walked up to the cemetery.
Yeah.
It was right before midnight we walked up there.
Yeah. It was.
That wasn't planned. That was just the time we ended up going.
Yeah. Yeah. We had planned to go up about 10, 11 o'clock.
Something like that. But then those kids came through, and then we just
let's let things settle down again. And, and we just walked up the road.
Right.
And there was moonlight. There was. Might as well mention that because that actually becomes important later on too. It wasn't a full moon. It was like 3/4 moon.
Right, but it was enough to see by. I found on this trip that I have particularly bad night vision. So that's something that hopefully new glasses will address. But but even with my bad night vision, we were able to walk up there with no lighting, basically.
I had the lantern, the one oil lantern, and then
it
petered out because I forgot to refill it before we went.
Right. And, so from that point, we just went
by moonlight.
Yeah. So it was you could see the road, we could see where we were going. So. There was enough light to see what we were doing as far as walking and so forth. So this we didn't hear.
Yeah.
This I caught as I'm listening back. We have hours and hours of audio for these on-site things.
This particular one is ours.
And this is on our walk. So most of this walk up to the cemetery, it's a lot of crunching on the gravel as we're walking up the road.
All these roads are gravel. None of the roads are hard.
it just doesn't make for great audio to listen to. 'Cause we're talking, but it's a lot of crunch while we're talking. So I just cut that audio out. I figured we'd just say, okay, at this point we walked up there. But I could tell what time it was. I could tell where we were on the road because the road changes back to the cemetery. It's more of a dirt road.
Yes.
So this is after we turn and we're walking on the road back to the cemetery.
Yes, the access road.
Right. Now, this sound I picked up, we did not hear it. Again, we did not hear it while we were there. But it sounds very loud on the recording. And you can tell it's far away from the mic because at the end of this little click, you can hear 2 like clicks or something that you can tell are very close to the mic. You can tell. This is further away. It has a kind of reverb to it. You can tell it's far away.
Yes, and being that you said there's reverb, the valley is narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So sound tends to bounce off the 2 mountains.
Yeah. And by reverb, I mean natural reverb. I didn't apply any digital reverb or anything to that. This is the natural sound that I clipped out of the audio. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's anything, maybe, but it seems pretty interesting. And I will play this 3 times.
I was speechless when you played that for me tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely didn't hear it because we would have commented. We would have said something.
Yeah, we would have. I mean, because, we were listening, and
and it's, I don't know, it's far away. Like I said, you can hear the reverb on it. It's not close to the mic, but what it is, I don't know. I have no clue what to tell you.
I have no idea either, honestly. But it surely is interesting.
Yeah. So that's the first kind of thing that we didn't hear. And I will say there were things that we did hear while we were there that were far away, but we could hear them clearly.
Yes.
And I was hoping the recorder would pick up. There's a lot of things we heard that hopefully they're on the recording. I just haven't found them yet.
Yes.
Because there were some pretty interesting sounds we heard later in the night that I haven't been able to pull out yet. It's when stuff's far away from the mic, sometimes it's harder to pick up.
Yeah,
so, but this was something we didn't hear.
Yeah, which
that
I
did
found
make
interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, because we could hear things, especially later on, that were far away, and was this something that was closer and softer? And we couldn't pick it up.
The only thing I'm thinking of, and again, we mentioned this on the recordings, is when we were walking up to the place, the mood was very calm.
Yes.
And very peaceful.
I think we even mentioned that.
I think we do. And maybe we just weren't in that state where we were noticing everything yet. You know what I mean? Maybe we were just very relaxed and very, casual. 'Cause at this point, it was just a nice walk, a nice nighttime hike we were taking. There wasn't anything tense about it. There wasn't. And we even mentioned it, that just how peaceful the cemetery feels. We say we don't want to hang out in there, and we say
we didn't want to disturb it.
Yeah, it's just because of respect. It just seemed like
it was a peaceful place.
Yeah, it just seemed super peaceful.
The cemetery itself, the inside of the cemetery, was very peaceful.
Yeah,
it was outside the cemetery.
Especially that night when we got there, it was like, oh, this isn't scary, but it just feels like out here's for us and there's for them, And let's let the peace be, like, why disturb the peace? Now, we did go in.
Yeah, we did go in. I mean, we had intended to go up and use the dowsing rods.
Right, we were going to do dowsing rods, and we were going to try to get some EVPs and stuff, and it just didn't feel right. Yeah, it didn't feel right to bother it. Yeah.
So
it was so peaceful.
It was so peaceful.
It just was really, really nice in the moonlight and everything. It was just like I'm thinking maybe that's just where our heads were at that point in the walk. Maybe it was just this, we were in, let's have a nice night hike mode and not like real like tense, like stuff's going on.
Because I enjoy the woods. You enjoy the woods. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were nice and calm. I mean, I think we said, we'll just leave the recorder here.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know why we didn't pick up that noise, or, maybe it was something that seemed perfectly natural to us at that time and we just didn't, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just... But I'll just go ahead and play it 3 more times because it's short. So I think we reached the cemetery. It was probably 11:45, 11:30, 11:45. and again, this wasn't intentional. We did not intend to be there at midnight. Not that we were afraid to be there at midnight. It's just that we didn't specifically say, let's go up at midnight.
No, we actually didn't have a specific time in mind.
What up? That's the white oak tree.
Yeah.
To where the runaway slave was accidentally killed.
Right.
Was buried.
Now, do we know where she was supposedly shot, or just somewhere in Pandemonium?
Just somewhere in this area. And I imagine the dogs were running loose.
Well, I tell you what. Human up in a tree in these lighting conditions. Not excusing anybody for doing it.
No, I mean, you saw how much this. I mean, the one reason I brought these oil lantern is just so you can see what they had.
Yeah, I mean, it would look like a black shape up in the tree. Any person, you know, with
absolutely. And he thought it was a black bear, and you know, they're not going to book a black bear in the middle of their town.
Right.
So was it right? Heck no. Oh, absolutely not.
No, not excusing anybody. I'm just saying I can not understand, but I could
see how it happened.
I could see the mistake.
Yes.
I could see it being a mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you had a gentleman up here who was known for freeing slaves, so it's not like these people were hate monsters.
Right, exactly.
I don't get a feeling of, like, hatred or anything like that.
No.
More a feeling of peace, if anything.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say is, like, I'm not afraid. If you want to go in, we'll go in.
No, I'm going to go in.
But I'm also almost feeling like it's hollowed ground in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to invade too much. You know what I mean?
No, and I agree. That, and also, you know, we're 6 miles in the middle of nowhere. You know, I'm mostly more worried about, like, animals.
Well, yeah.
Remind me of that, sir.
All right. We could go check that cedar ball.
Agreed. There's movement up on to my left.
Outside the cemetery?
Yes, up on the hill. Just to kind of keep that in the sight of you. You want me to go first?
Yeah, I think I'm right. Well, I don't know, maybe. So we're in the Pioneer Cemetery right now. It's kind of mutually agreed, not for fear. It's a very peaceful feeling, but for the kind of respect. I don't know how much time we're going to spend here.
Correct.
I don't mind being right outside either.
No.
Yeah, it just feels like.
I respect these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a woodsman.
Yeah, sure.
Myself as a woodsman, you know, doing what I got to do to be out here, and I can imagine it was a hard life.
Yeah.
Hard life.
Yeah. Yeah, the 1700s up here.
Even the early 1900s up here.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have the roads that we got. And it just...
Yeah, those have all been dirt roads. Probably pretty much impassable part of the winter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not like they were plowing them out.
No. What about the Cairn? Should we go check out the Cairn?
Oh man, I don't know if... Let's leave that for tomorrow.
I think so too.
Yeah, I just don't...
I got the feeling I really don't want to go over in that area.
You know, I'm kind of with you. Let's trust his instincts, always. It's not for us right now, you know? I think that's...
Well, the fact that, you know, I saw something and it disappeared in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's really...
That tells me that area is kind of a little off limits at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's my feeling.
No, I feel that. That's the kind of, you know, leaf under the rock kind of moment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where you go, okay.
And honestly, that was the first kind of moment I've had like that. Did you hear that too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's coming from that area.
Yeah. Wonder if we're being announced.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to leave a recorder here or not?
We could do that.
I don't think that's being too intrusive.
No. We could do that.
So the gentleman that was here earlier with us had placed an apple there.
Yeah, Mark put an apple, and that's gone.
And it's gone.
Which, not super surprised.
It could have been an animal. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just hold out here a couple minutes. Yep, that's our friends from earlier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This place doesn't like the
It came alive and something may or may not have been thrown at us there.
Yeah, thank you. So what happened is we just had two cars go down the road.
Making a lot of noise.
Making a lot of noise. They came by earlier and now this place is, the mood's changed.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think it's time to go.
I'm in agreement. We may or may not have had something thrown at us. It hit right behind us.
I heard it.
Yeah, now it could have fallen from a tree. I don't know, but
Absolutely. I don't think those trucks are rattling that much to
no. Sounds like they went further than the campsite, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I knew what sounded like a voice. Did you hear it?
I did not.
We're going. Be patient.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's head that direction either way.
We gotta go that way.
Yeah, exactly. All right, there's something over here.
Wait, you heard something?
Oh yeah.
Like I said, when those trucks went by, this place...
It completely came alive. You're 100% right. 100% right. I felt it too, not just heard it.
I know it.
It just was like electric all of a sudden.
Not happy.
Yeah.
There's something
Yep.
over there.
Yep.
Something behind us.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best option is to go back to camp.
I think you might be right.
We're going to be here all night on the edge of this.
Yep. No sense poking at stuff.
I think it was coconut.
Yeah.
We've had a little harrowing night here tonight.
It was interesting, yeah.
Not because of wounds, but...
Yeah, more because of humans.
Yes.
The rangers kind of primed us. There's a what is this piece of machinery? A grater or something?
A grater, yeah.
There's a grater up here, and they said, somebody was messing with that. They cut the battery cables, but they didn't get the battery, so they might be back. So call us if you see anybody messing with the grater.
And there's like little or no signal here at all.
Yeah. Kind of primed us for worrying about stuff, worrying about people. We just wanted to worry about spook.
Wow.
So we got to go over that.
Yeah.
The feeling was palpable when those trucks came by.
Oh, absolutely.
It changed on a dime.
And it wasn't like, when you say feeling, it's not like from the vibration of the noise.
No.
It was just like you could feel the place was angry. It was.
That's what it felt like.
It was not happy.
That's what it felt like.
I mean the area.
It was on a dime. It changed.
Absolutely.
Because, like I said, we were just like, this is peaceful. This is nice. This is, like I said, we
were very respectful.
Yeah. Now we decided not to go over to where the Cairn was, but that had not to do with the cemetery.
No.
The cemetery itself was like super peaceful, and then it changed.
Yeah.
I mean, hair on the back of their neck went up. When I say something was thrown at us, and I didn't see it because we were facing the road to see if they were going to turn towards the cemetery.
Yeah, we were worried about the trucks coming up to us, and it was 2 trucks.
Yeah, I don't know.
One's a diesel. So
I think 2 trucks in a car went one way, and when they came back,
it was just the 2 trucks.
Yeah.
And the one was a diesel, so it was very loud. I mean, and just reverbed off the mountains.
Yeah, and what is that like horrible screeching? So you said it
was
on
a
the
skid plate from one of the trucks.
It sounds horrifying.
It was yeah.
On the tape, I mean.
Yeah, it sounds horrifying on the tape because when I listened to it later, I was like, what was that? And I'm like, oh, that's that stupid skid plate because I remember hearing it.
So that's what it is, but no less. I mean, it adds to the atmosphere on the tape for sure.
It wasn't the fear of the trucks coming up. We weren't afraid.
No, it's just we need to pay attention to our surroundings.
Yeah, because something, like I said, when we weren't afraid of the area, it was like the area, and when I say the area, I'm talking like outside the cemetery. Because once we got to the road, it was okay. Mm-hmm. It was just that area going in towards the cemetery, which is the heart of the town, basically. Mm-hmm. It was like, we don't want you here. It was like that area was. It was like the area was priming for whoever was in the trucks to come up. But I think I even remarked to you, God help them if they would have pulled up. What would have happened if the trucks would have came?
If they would have came up, or if they were to go up later or something.
Yeah, it was like something was getting ready for them to come, and we.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was. So we were quiet. You can tell we were speaking quietly. Yeah, we were talking, but we were speaking quietly. It's almost in a way that, like, they alerted something to the presence of humans in a sense.
Yes.
And then the whole area was like, you all get out now. Like,
yes.
Like, even us, even like you two. That's what it felt like.
We were caught in a crossfire.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, kind of like that.
And when Tim says something was thrown at me, this wasn't just stuff falling off the trees.
No.
And there wasn't enough vibration to not make stuff fall off the trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking the end of August here.
It's not acorn time.
We're not in fall. And there was no wind, which is actually important later on.
Yeah.
There was no wind blowing at all. And it was just like stuff started coming out. I thought I heard a voice, or a woman's voice.
Yes, when you say on the tape, you can hear you say, I heard a voice back there. Did you hear that? Or something like that.
Yes.
You told me later that it was a woman's voice. Yeah, because we were recapping it.
Yes.
like the next day I said, I want to, while it's in our head, I want to
went over it,
recap all this, get a timeline. And that's when you said it was a woman's voice, because I didn't hear it. I did hear other stuff. You know, there was something on either side of us making noise.
Yeah, I was hearing, when I say I heard something behind us, I heard the woman's voice, and it wasn't in the cemetery area. It was up above the cemetery.
Like
up near,
up the mountain a little bit.
Up the mountain a little bit where the Hall Road was. Mm-hmm. Not exactly at the Hall Road, but near that area. And then I started hearing snaps up above us, around behind us. Now, when I went back, more and other times I've gone back, there are ruins along that road on that side, which we didn't see before because we really didn't explore that area too much.
Yeah.
So, but I heard snaps, and after I heard the woman's voice, and it wasn't like a scream or a holler, it was like, you know, a voice,
like a conversation,
but
just out of earshot,
but I could tell it was a woman's voice or a high-pitched voice. It was like, like I said, it wasn't like anybody screaming. It was just like kind of like, you know, I didn't get like an angry feel from it, but it was somebody talking loudly is the best way to describe it.
So at this point, now the hair is, like I said, the hair on the back of my neck standing up. Now I'm alert. Now I'm noticing every sound. Yeah. Right. Now I'm focused. Like I said, I think we both heard. You heard stuff to the side you were on. I heard stuff to the side I was on. We both heard something in front of us across the way. I cannot stress enough how the entire mood changed on a dime.
And I don't know if I mentioned this on that footage, but I know I mentioned this before. The only time I felt something close to that, well, actually, it was what I felt before was even more angrier. But I likened it to the feeling I got up at White Rocks.
When it's time to go.
It's time to go. And that's exactly how you felt too. I mean, I think I said on the footage, I'm like, patient, we're going.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the area because I was trying to let whatever was there know that we're going.
It took me a second when I was listening back and I'm editing it, and I hear you say that. I'm like, was I being impatient? And I was like, oh no, that's right. He was talking to
it or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, we were definitely being pushed out. There's no doubt. And I think
that's the correct word for it.
And I think even when we stopped now we didn't run.
No.
Because we didn't want to run because you don't want to run in the dark, and we just kind of moved quickly. We stopped at the road to try and kind of get our breath, and not because we were scared or running. It was just kind of like, whew, that was intense. And then I heard another snap across the road. I'm like, yeah, we just need to go back to camp at that point.
Yeah. Whatever may or may not have been thrown, if it was something that dropped from a tree, it picked the most amazing time ever to do that.
Yes.
Because as right as all that's happening, it hits right behind us. Hard enough for me, even with that, you can hear how loud that is on the tape. You can hear how loud that is. Hard enough for me to know, like, something just hit right behind us.
Yeah.
So, okay, I don't know what it was. I didn't see anything get thrown.
Well, it was too dark. Yeah. I mean, with the moonlight, we couldn't really see anything. And I think, I don't know if I said on the recording, but I think I remember remarking, I just felt something zing between us. Like you could feel the air movement.
Maybe, yeah.
From something moving.
It's just like went crazy all of a sudden. And
it was, like you said, it turned on a dime. It was just like somebody flicked a switch.
Yep.
And the best way to describe it.
Electric is, I think I used the word on the tape. That's a good word for it too, because it was just immediately like, whoa, like what happened? Like, and time to go. And we're what? Hundreds of yards away? That's where we sleep,
From the cemetery?
Yeah.
Maybe not even a football field away.
As the crow flies.
As the crow flies,
yeah. It's so we're right there.
We weren't leaving.
Yeah,
we were there for the night.
Yeah. So this is the same bit of audio of the trucks approaching, and you can hear them come and go away. You can hear that. What did you say that plate was?
It was a skid plate on the truck rattling, and
just how horrifying it sounds.
Yes.
But this whole clip, and again, I don't know that there's anything particularly supernatural or anything in this clip. But I liken it to like something that could be used on like a dark ambient album. It's just a spooky clip. So this is the same segment on the recorder that we left in the cemetery. I'll just let that play through. It's about a minute and a half, something like that. So to me, it just feels spooky. There's just a spooky feeling.
It kind of conveys what we felt.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'll just go ahead and play that.
That is crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's audio pareidolia that I'm hearing in there, but that tail end, it almost sounds like something's kind of speaking over top of the other noise.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's just knowing the feeling of it, and I'm, interpreting whatever ambient noises as something else. I don't know. I'm not saying there's definitely something there, but it's a creepy clip. It's a really creepy.
It really is, and like you said, it's the tail end, and this was the, like you said, this was the recorder we left, and this recorder was positioned towards the back of the cemetery.
It was the far end away from where we were.
Yeah, and that was the area that in the middle of the night we really were like, no, I think you said that's for them, that's for us. We didn't go back there. That's towards where the disappearing Cairn was. So that would have been the town where everybody was living and moving.
Yeah. So, and then we walked back to camp. I guess I don't know if we thought we were. I think we thought we experienced probably
enough,
the most of what we were going to experience.
Yeah, we thought it was over,
and we were wrong.
We were really wrong.
Part 2 is insane, and I don't know what we experienced at that cemetery. I don't know if we were reading into it our own feelings. We weren't happy about those trucks going through. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Are we kind of misinterpreting? I don't think we were. I don't. We felt what we felt.
No.
But let's say as a skeptic, looking at it as a skeptic, you were just reading whatever. But the things that happened during the rest of the night, there's no doubt.
There's absolutely
no doubt in my mind, and what we found when we woke up shocked me to the point of almost not being able to speak. I mean, it was stunning. It was literally stunning.
Now, when you say when we woke up, are you talking about when we were woken up or when we were breaking camp?
Oh, when we were breaking camp.
Oh, yes.
It was stunning. I mean, it was literally stunning. It was one of those moments where whatever this stuff is, let's call it the other, taps you on the shoulder and says,
it was a wake-up call.
I am here and I am real.
Yeah.
And there is absolutely, in my mind, okay, maybe there's another explanation for it. I have trouble believing that there's any other explanation than it was something.
I'm going to say there is no other explanation for it because when we look back on things, I had something that happened before we woke up. Mm-hmm. Remember where I woke up in the middle of the night, which correlated with that and just blew my mind. At the time, I didn't think much of it, and then blew my mind.
Because we're trying to reconstruct the night.
Because we were trying to reconstruct the night.
Because we're in and out of sleep.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So this, and we've got some tape. I've got some pretty amazing tape that we'll be playing next episode.
Yeah, and
that it's this place is incredible. I mean, we're definitely going back. We've been back. We're going to go back again.
Yes.
It shook me. It definitely shook me. And, you know, it's not like I'm not going back. It didn't shake me that much, but it, like I said, it's one of those times where the other reaches out, taps you on the shoulder, and waves. You know, I'm here and I'm real.
Yeah, and it definitely, and you know, I'm somebody who is, you know, pretty skeptical. You know, and it made me wake up and take notice. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, because
literally wake up.
I've seen some crazy things in the woods and try to explain as much as I can. And I know some animals. You know, I know most of the local animals in Pennsylvania, and especially what we found in the morning.
Yeah,
that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, well, what woke us up too? And that's on tape. Yeah, obviously, I'm having a little trouble putting the words together. It was stunning, and that is part 2 of Pandemonium. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1. We had to kind of lay out the history a little bit and kind of lay the basics out where we were and everything, and we started our night off with that cemetery visit, and then from there,
it just we had expectations for something else, and we really honestly kind of got more than we bargained for.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it.
Those items that Tobe gave me to leave out, they come into play again. More field recordings come into play.
The slag from Condora's furnace
comes into play. All of those things come into play. Of course, we'll go over them again next episode, but can't wait to tell you guys about it because I'm getting chills right now.
Well, yeah, I definitely am.
Just thinking about it again because it was incredible.
It was intense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just putting it bluntly. It was very intense.
I think at the time I said something like, Pandemonium makes Site 7 seem like kindergarten, and I mean it. It was that much.
I've never been to Site 7, but I can tell you this much. Pandemonium, I've spent lots and lots of nights in the woods, and this was like something I've never encountered.
No joke. No joke up there.
It was not a joke.
So we'll be back next time with Pandemonium Part 2.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I want to thank Eric C. for his PayPal donation. He makes PayPal donations on a fairly regular basis. Thank you so much. Every bit helps us continue to make Strange Familiars. So thanks again, Eric C. I have a lot of audio to go through for Pandemonium Part 2. That will be the next episode. Depending on how long it takes me to go through the audio and edit it, the next episode might be a little bit late. I'm not sure. I'm going to try my best to have it out next Thursday. But whatever the case, we will be back soon with more Strange Familiars. You can always find us at strangefamiliars.com.
Strange Brown Radio presents Podcastle Live, the Manresa Castle, Port Townsend, Washington, October 25th from 7 to 11. This free event will host legendary Bigfoot researcher Ron Moorhead, as well as some ghost stories and info on the Caracas skulls, consultant for the LAPD, psychic medium Sarah Nash, and Fire Shoot, the camera woman behind the infamous cloaking video. Go to manresacastle.com.
Conspiranormal Podcast proudly presents the Strange Realities Conference. Strange Realities. Come join us for one day of presentations on the paranormal with live music at night featuring Tim Banal,
The Rise and Fall of the Flat Earth Theory,
Joshua Cutchin,
Alien Hybrid Lore,
Joe Damari,
Pushing the Limits of Reality,
Guy Malone,
Roswell 1947, What Really Happened,
Timothy Renner,
Pennsylvania Wildman,
and added to the lineup, Mark Anthony Wyatt,
Cornish legends and UFO sightings.
Zach Hunt.
Presentation of his book Unraptured.
Followed by a live recording of the Conspiranormal podcast. More speakers and music acts to be announced. October 19, 2019, SIR Nashville.
Tickets and info at www.strangerealitiesconference.com. $40 at the door, $30 pre-sale.
Strange Familiars is a production of Dark Holler Arts, music, books, art, podcasts, and more. darkhollerarts.com. Intro and background music is by Stone Breath. Go to stonebreath.bandcamp.com for more. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/strangefamiliars. You can also join the Strange Familiars gathering group there. And we are on Instagram @strangefamiliars.
Hey, I'm not going to tell you all my name, but you have permission to use this voicemail on the show. I just finished listening to the most recent episode. I love your work, and I love the podcast, and I'm always impressed by the new things that are coming to the air through you. I thought I'd call and share 2 stories with you. When I was young, I don't think I was even 4 yet, and I remember vividly waking up one night, it was dark, and I had gone down the stairs, and I was following these little gremlins or goblins, and they were smaller than me, and I was 3 or 4 years old. And they were helping each other down the stairs. And that sounds like a dream, but for so long I carried it with me thinking that it was a very real scenario, and I'm still not sure. So it's comforting to hear on your show that a lot of people kind of have the same experience, where they're just like, was that real? Did I dream it? It seemed real. And then another thing that seems real, but I'm not sure if it was, I think part of it is I listen to so many spooky stories that I've just kind of freaked myself out at this point. But I could have sworn I had a sleep paralysis episode the other night. And I woke up and I thought somebody had walked into my room. And I was kind of laying on my side and I couldn't open my mouth to scream. And all I wanted to do was scream, no, don't come in. But I couldn't. And it felt so, I'm going to get chills now. It felt so real and it was terrifying. So I'm going to blame y'all for that. Thank you. Enjoy the show. Keep up the good work. Appreciate y'all.
And all that time you've been in my mind. You've been in my mind.